Every trigger is a gift. There's gold in it for you to move closer to your dreams and your purpose. And today I want to share with you the exercises and frameworks that I've been following over years to get to that goal within like 5 minutes, because I just have so many passions. I write songs, I play the piano, I go on dates. I have a full life, and so do you. You have your baby boy, you have dreams too, so we don't have time to journal for hours or ask ourselves what went wrong in our childhood. So 5 minutes is basically all it takes after you understand what I'm going to share with you. And this video is especially for you when you consider yourself a person that's barely triggered, because there are sneaky little ways triggers show up in your life and you don't even notice. But we want that gold. Okay, so let's go. Let's dive into the ocean of emotion and get to that gold so we can grow and become a more conscious and evolved version of ourselves. Number one, what is a trigger? So a trigger occurs when there's an action or an event happening in the external that sparks that like chain reaction within us. So it causes an overly emotional reaction that's not really in relation to the circumstances or the event that happened, right? Sometimes you can be mad or you can be sad or afraid, but it's when it's keep haunting you like for days after, that's when you know, well, there's something in it. Like, let me give you an example. That one time I was at the place of my best friend and her brother was in his pizza recipe phase. So he was ordering the flour from Italy and just tried out so many recipes to find the perfect pizza. And I'm a pizza fan. I used to be, now I'm carnivore, so I don't eat pizza anymore. But I have some knowledge about, like, some expertise in pizza as well. So when I was at their place, he was just making the pizza and I was eating it and we were just having a little discussion, and I told him that I like it like more thin and with mozzarella cheese. And then he like started acting a little weird and telling me how like his pizza is better than mine, and he never tasted my pizza. So I was like, what's going on? And for days I was so freaking mad at this boy. And it didn't make any sense because it's just pizza, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's not what we think it is about. That's also what a trigger is. It's never what we think it is about. It's not about the pizza. What I learned and realized after I used the exercises that I'm going to share with you later on, I realized I was triggered because I felt not seen in my preferences. And so I went through those processes that I'm going to share, and my trigger was gone in 5 minutes after I used them. Okay, so a trigger is almost like, bruise when you have a scratch somewhere. And when someone touches it, it's like, ouch, like it hurts. Even if they just wanted to pet you or just to hug you, it just hurts. And that's a trigger in the emotional realm. It's an overly emotional reaction to an event that occurred, and it keeps following you. Like just that one day that, I don't know, didn't pay for the date and you wanted them to pay, that's just what you prefer, and you keep talking about it with your friends for over a week, you're probably triggered. Because if there's nothing in it for you, if there's not a wound, I'm like, okay, you didn't pay. Okay, next date, we're just not a match. Like, I don't even think about it. Okay, so that's the difference. You don't need to react overly emotional. There are different types of triggers, and you might be triggered without knowing, though. So when we think about triggers or a triggered person, it's usually a person that's bashing out, right? There's this fire, they have no control. It's just like that volcano that's exploding. But that's actually not the only way a trigger can show up. So let me go through, I think 7. Let me have a look at my notes. Yeah, I identified 7 different types of, as I like to call the waves, of the ocean of emotion, there are different kind of waves. And usually we are dominant in one, and depending on the situation, maybe two others. And it can change over your life. Like in different seasons, you might be more dominant in type number 4 than in type number 6. Okay, let's go into that. Type number 1 is the flight person. So when they are triggered, they just run away. I had that experience with one of my older friends. We didn't see each other for a long time, and then we suddenly met by chance. And we were just having a little walk, we had a conversation, and I was just mentioning the name of her boyfriend back then. And like 5 seconds later, she was, oh, I need to go. Yeah, I don't feel like I have a headache. Break up. I did not at the time. Later on, they did, but that's a flighty response, right? That's a person. You just have that need to just run away. Maybe you leave that date. You just, call your friend and, oh, it's an emergency, and you just like run away when your date kind of, I don't know, like looks weird at you or something. That's the flighty response. The other response is what we all are aware of. It's the volcano. It's the fire. It's bashing out at people, or you just feel that like madness and fire. What I definitely felt with the pizza example that I was giving you, I was just like so mad at him. Like, how could he not respect my opinion or just my taste? And I just couldn't get over it. So that was a fiery response. Number 3 is the intellectual. So the intellectual goes into the brain and starts rationalizing how, well, that shouldn't bother you because it's just a pizza. And then you maybe come up with all the different pizza recipes that you have, and you just get all caught up in the rational realm. And then you think about triggers and why you shouldn't be triggered. It's like all in your head and reasonings. And yeah, you just try to be very, very logical about it and try to over explain it to other people. That's what I sometimes do as well. Number 4 is, that's my most dominant one. It's the spiral of self-doubt. I thought I am barely triggered in my life because I don't bash out at people. Like, that's just not my personality. However, when I, watch my favorite content creator and she's so beautiful, she is so successful, and then I go down the spiral of, oh, I should be as successful as she is because we're like almost the same age, and why can't I be that successful? And maybe I'm not really certified in anything, so I feel like I suck and I can't help anyone. You see, it's like spiral and spiral of the self-doubt. And this is being triggered as well. Okay, that's my most dominant one. Number 5 is the who cares girl. She's just too cool for everything. So when, for example, I think at school I had this girl. Let's say we organized a presentation, we were holding it, and then we get some feedback from the teacher and she wasn't completely pleased with it. Okay, I might go into self-doubt. Oh, I was not giving enough, this kind of energy. But the who cares, like, who are you, girl? She thinks like, who is this teacher to tell me that? Like, who are you? Like, I don't care. That is a trigger response as well, right? She doesn't want to deal with those feelings of failure, maybe, or the critique. So she's also reacting in an emotional way, but she's giving the duty to everyone else. Like, it's her fault. Like, who is she to tell me that? Like, she should just be pleased. That's also trigger response. Number 6 is the overly people-pleasing person. Like, suddenly, let's say your date believes in 50-50 and you don't. And instead of staying your ground and being calm, and he asks you, like, why do you want a provider? And you just, oh, that's just how it is. That's when you're not triggered. But when you're overly people-pleasing, you suddenly freeze. And then you, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, who? like, we don't need to be like provider and homemaker. Yeah, maybe I can like pay half of the bill, right? You just kind of fawn. That's one of the nervous system responses. I think there's flight, freeze, fawn. What else? Flight, freeze, fawn. I forget the fourth one. Yeah, but basically all the triggers go into one of these different categories of how our nervous system reacts to that, and that's definitely the fawn one. Number 7 is the one who just shuts down. So it's not like they run away or they bash out. They stay, but they kind of build their walls up. So you just don't know if someone's there. It's like, hello, are you still with me? It's just like this, you know. And you can't connect with them anymore because they don't let anything out. At least with the flight person or with the bashing out person, you know what's going on, but with the one who's all in their shell, you're just right as a partner or as a friend, you don't even notice that they're triggered. But that can be one. So in summary, the 7 are the flight response, the volcano, the intellectual, the spiral of self-doubt, the who cares girl, the people pleaser, and the one who shuts down. So I was sharing that with you so you can catch the trigger and become aware of it. Obviously, if you want to heal and dive deep to get that gold in your trigger and to be calm again, you need to know that you're triggered in the first place. Right? Makes sense. So I like to call that catch the wave. And you need to know what is more dominant within you to catch yourself in the moment. That's the first step. When you catch yourself being triggered, like for me, it's right, I'm scrolling through. I don't really like Instagram, so let's say I watch a YouTube video, and I start just questioning, oh, I'm not good enough, and I'm not a coach like she is, and I don't make 100K. It's like, wait, I become aware, oh, this is a trigger. That's the first thing. What I do then, I drop into my body. So you just breathe. You can breathe your spine up and then down in front of you. And then you want to locate, where do you feel that in your body? So I'm a little excited right now because I'm talking to you. So I feel that like here. It's like, ah. And I just go into that sensation of my body. So can you see in this moment I can't be reactive, so I can't bash out on people. I just become aware of what's going on in my body. So I locate the sensation in my body. I feel into it. And then I give it a number from like 1 to 10, let's say. It's like a 4, for example. So if it's like a 1 or a 2, you're usually not really triggered. That's like still green space. But 4, 5, or 6 and above, like you definitely are triggered at that moment. And I feel into that, and then I amplify. So if I feel my excitement for you at a 4, I try to amplify that. Now I go to a 5, to a 6, a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Until there's this moment of, there will come a moment, maybe you have to go up at 30 or 40, but there will be one moment where suddenly, like, you maybe can't breathe anymore, and then there's this release, and then it goes down again with the number until you are at 0 or 1 or 2. That's fine too. That's the first step, being aware of it, feeling it in your body, amplifying it so you can release it from your nervous system. That's the first step. And that takes practice. It's not a mental exercise. It can be very tricky to catch yourself when you're triggered, but it's really worth it. Okay, now the second one is what I call the 3-step gold diving method that I use especially when I'm mad at people. Like, this is how to go deep, like to dive deep and get that gold. 3 steps. Okay. Number one, imagine this person is in front of you and you tell them what is bothering you. So, for example, let's say there was one of my colleagues and she was holding a presentation, and then suddenly another colleague just stopped her in the middle of her sentence, and that annoyed me so much. Like, how can you be so disrespectful? Right? And step number one, you want to give it to me. Like, let it all out. What is annoying you? Then break it down to one sentence. So in this example would be, I'm so annoyed that you're so disrespectful, and just cut people off. Okay? Step number two. Now you want to give them one piece of advice, one sentence max. You don't need more than one sentence. And this advice should be in a positive way. So just like affirmations, you don't want to say not in affirmations, because how our brain is wired, we focus on the main. Well, let's give me. I give you an example. When I say don't look at my nose, I think you were looking at my nose, weren't you? Well, if I don't want you to look at my nose, I can just say, look at my earring. Different focus. So the not always takes time. It needs conscious awareness to be like, oh no, she said not looking at her nose. But the first thing you probably heard was nose. That's why we want to keep it in a way that is positive. So instead of saying, stop being rude to people and interrupt them, don't do that. I would say, I would like you to be patient, be in your body, and listen to someone else's presentation. Be curious, just listen to it. And once they went silent, then is your time to speak. That would be my piece of advice. Listen carefully, attentively, and speak when the other person has like a long pause and you know she's ready, like she's finished. That would be my advice. Now, number three, this is magic. Now we have the gold. We know what the lesson is. However, now we're taking it home. That means you take that advice and apply it in your own life. You heard me right. I know you're not as disrespectful as this person is, and you're probably not interrupting people as much as they do. However, there is a reason it appeared in your life, and there's definitely a reason why you reacted in that way. But you don't need to be mad at this person for interrupting someone. You can just be, oh, that's interesting. I don't like that they do that. But if you have a very emotional reaction and you keep telling all of your friends and your family and your boyfriend or your husband, hey, this one colleague, like he was interrupting her, and like this is so disrespectful. If you make a tweet about it, is tweet still a thing? I don't know. I'm not into social media. Right? Then you know there is something in it for you, and it is for you. So you don't need to blame yourself to be triggered. However, when you take this message with you, you might notice that on a scale from 1 to 10, let's say the colleague is like at an 8 or a 9 disrespectful. However, there might be like tiny little ways in your everyday life where you are maybe like at a 2. And with that gold that you got, you can evolve. And now you're only at a 1. So what I realized when this one colleague was just interrupting someone and I was just so mad at him, I took that advice. The fire just went away after I took that advice, and honestly reflected, okay, like sometimes when my mom talks about her day, I'm a little bored and I scroll on my phone. So I'm technically not interrupting her, but I'm also not really attentively listening to her. Right? Or sometimes I really just I'm not interested in the topic that she's talking about, so I just start talking about the date that I had. Well, can you see? a little bit of that was definitely true for me too. So let's just try that out in your own life whenever you're triggered, especially when you're mad at a person. Just follow those 3 steps, let it all out. What is it that's truly annoying you? Then you want to go into that one advice, 1 sentence max, and positive. And then you're self aware enough to take that into your own life and just be curious. Like, where do you show up that kind of way, and where can you, as I said, it's not about being now mad at yourself. I think, especially if you're into inner work and where we're self aware, we tend to be mad at ourselves for being triggered or for not, in my example, treating my mom the best and how she deserves. It's not about that. It's about taking that information and using it to just evolve and be better. So always positive focus. Take it to better yourself instead of blaming your old identity for not noticing. Like, you're now a more grown and evolved version of yourself. So now you see it. And that's the whole point of it. And in my experience, it's just the trigger is gone. Like, I'm calm and I can play piano again and I can go on to the next stage and take the gold with me and just see where I need to apply this in my life. So that's the 3-step gold diving formula that I've been using for years, and it's just amazing. So the last thing I want to share is a mindset shift. This is a little bit for the more spiritual ones. I believe that everyone loves me. So why is a trigger occurring in my life? Why are people acting weird? Why do they hurt me? Why do they make me feel less than, like the different trigger responses, right? It's because they love me. And I have a soul contract with them. And they agreed to play the villain in my life. So I do believe that before we are born and we go to this crazy planet Earth, that we have almost like a plan mapped out what we want to do in this life and lessons that we want to learn. I don't think that every single day is planned out. Like, do I drink coffee today or do I drink water? Do I wear like this blue little sweater or do I wear this pink one? I didn't know what to wear, so I had multiple options. So it's not like that, but the big lessons are already set, and usually we want to go through them so we don't change them in our lives. We could, but why, if it's a perfect plan, like, why change it? So I also believe that we have contracts with other souls that help us learn those lessons. And some souls, some people, even if they don't know it, they love you so much that they play the villain even though it breaks their heart. Like, they don't want you to cry and have heartbreak, but they love you so much that they know they need to show up that way in your life in order for you to grow and become more of yourself and closer to the dreams and passions and the purpose you are assigned to on this earth. And whenever I really take that in, not just mentally, right, but just, right, okay, like the last date that I had, who ended it, he just really, on a soul's level, loves me, and he knows that he's not the one for me. So I don't need to be mad at him for not showing up the way I desired it. He showed up exactly how I needed it. And that just gets you out of it. Actually, under a minute, right? The gold digging, the gold diving method, for me, that's like 5 minutes. And this one mindset shift, it's just 1 minute. More, like, you don't need more time. Okay. What else do I have on my list? I think that's it. So as I said, you can take the 3-step gold diving formula, let it all out, give them one piece of advice, then take the gold at home. You can remind yourself that everyone loves you. And first, you always need to be aware that you are triggered. Because there's gold in it for you, and you just need to dive into the ocean of emotion to get that gold. So, are there any questions? Yeah, look. Oh my god, I'm the intellectual trigger type. I noticed I do that too. I do that too, like with my last date, instead of just feeling like sad. Oh, I know we're not the perfect match, but I could just feel sad. What I did was, okay, like this is what went wrong, and this is what I should do better next time, and maybe I should have known at this point. And my mom was like, you can just be sad. Like, why do you need to analyze everything? Yeah, but it's so much fun to analyze it. Yeah, I was actually trying to like kind of avoid the feeling of just being sad, even though I knew we're not a perfect match. But I tried to figure it out and analyze everything. So I definitely do that too. Yeah, Ziv, and then look for the other comments. I'm always triggered when people have extreme political opinions and they share it. What can I do? And they have extreme political opinions. Well, I think it would be like helpful if you use the 3-step process. Like, what is really annoying you about that? Right? Let's say you were more left and they're very right, then you're not necessarily triggered because they have a different opinion, like just because they're right, but because there's something associated with it. Right? For example, you say, oh, they're like so intolerant, like they can't love people, like they judge people, and that's so annoying to you. And then you would go to step number 2. Okay, what advice would you give them? Well, just to be open, no matter who you have in front of you, no matter what color their skin is, no matter their socioeconomic status. They just be open and listen to them and just be curious about them. And then you just take that into your own life. Like, where can you be more curious about other people? Right? So you can use those 3 steps. And with political opinions, I don't really care for politics. That's not my mission on this planet. So I don't really have any opinions about politics. But as I said, it's probably what you associate with that really annoys you. Like, if you take politics out of it and you just see the person and what is annoying about their beliefs and how they show up in front of people, that can be very helpful. Yeah, let me know, is this helpful for you? Maybe I can find another answer. Thank you, so helpful. Glad I could help. Oh, it was so much fun again. I was so excited to share that with you. But yeah, I hope there was something in it for you. And I think the biggest takeaway is it's for you, right? Like, don't be mad at yourself for being mad. As I already said, like, I'm very much into self-development and I'm very reflective. And that's usually when we are very hard to ourselves and we overthink every feeling we have. So just drop into your body, feel it. You don't have to have it all figured out. Even right now, right? Just let it trigger you. Like, if someone has a completely different political opinion, it's also interesting, like, why you're so against it. Can you be more open for, okay, other people just have completely different beliefs than I have? Can you just accept that? Right? It's exactly what I said. If you're bothered because they're not tolerant and they're not open for other people, maybe you can be more open to them, even if it goes completely against your belief system. And as I said, it's never about the other person. You can't change them. That's why with the 3-step formula, we don't go to them and tell them, oh, you should better be respectful. No, we use that for ourselves because we can't change them. And they didn't ask for our feedback. And we don't want to give unsolicited feedback because it's never welcomed. And then you get even more mad. So it is for you. Every trigger has gold. You just need to dive into this ocean of your emotions. We don't want to bypass it to get to the gold. Take it home with you. And then, like, who cares if someone else has like this tornado of tsunami? I don't know. Like, this big storm. Like, you can't help them. They need to dive deep themselves. You can't change them. Okay, any other questions or comments? Or maybe advice, like maybe you have something that's very helpful whenever you're triggered. Okay. Give you 1 more minute, then we wrap it up. And again, thank you so much for listening to me. It was an honor to share that with you. And maybe now you know that sometimes you are triggered, even though you thought you're not a triggered person. All right. Thank you so much. And I wish you a beautiful day. And you got this. You're very capable. You're very aware of yourself. So you can tweak it here and there, but you totally got this. Bye.